Hello everyone, this is part 13 of What If Naruto Had the Ninetails and the Shinigami sealed inside him, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. Naruto appeared at the gates of Konoha. His right arm was held in his cast and the right side of his face was bandaged. Luckily no one could see him, so he didn't have to worry too much of his appearance in the human world. Naruto quickly ran to a private area and changed his hospital clothes and got back into his Soul Reaper and Captain Haori clothes. He had realized that parts of the Soul Reaper tunic and hakama haven't been sewn fully, so it had the tattered feel to it. Same went for his Haori. Naruto quickly closed his eyes and searched for Jiraiya's Ryatsu, trying not to strain himself since he was still severely injured. Once he found it, he began to lightly jog toward the area. Jiraiya was standing on the Hokage mountain. Naruto couldn't jump up to face him like he would normally do, instead he had to take the long way. He eventually got up to the mountain and began walking toward him. "Ah, Naruto, I knew you were coming, I've been expecting you," Jiraiya said, turning around to face the Shinigami. "Jiraiya, wait, how did you know I would be coming?" Naruto asked, scratching his head. "I've been informed, but that doesn't matter. What matters is your condition. What happened to you?" Jiraiya said, examining his bandages. "I thought you were informed," Naruto said, smirking. "I thought I said that didn't matter," Jiraiya responded, smirking as well. Naruto then began to explain what all has happened to him so far. He told about his almost relationship with Sakura, which got Jiraiya grinning, but when he told him about Sasuke beheading her, the smile was washed away. He told him how he had jumped into the Garganta to save Sakura and how he reunited with Kimimaro, then fought Sasuke. Jiraiya was well impressed and was listening carefully to his story. After it was done, he looked out to the horizon and began to think. Well, with that much power at Sasuke's disposal, he must have been at an Espada rank. Very impressive how you ked an Espada, Jiraiya said. "Yeah, Kyoraku-sensei and Nanao told me to lay low a bit since I don't have the mission to carry out my captain duties. I'm still not strong enough though. I just barely defeated Sasuke and that was because my inner hollow helped me. I could hardly fend off against Kimimaro, who had also grown stronger," Naruto said, looking down, feeling weak. "Well, if you want to get that strong, I could train you. I'm heading out to the Rain Village for a mission. I'm making 3 stops at villages. I could teach you what I know there," Jiraiya offered. "But you're no Shinigami, you're just a regular ninja. How can you help me with Soul Reaper training?" Naruto asked as he saw Jiraiya chuckle a bit. "That's where you're wrong, Naruto. I am no ninja. The only reason I can see you is because I am a Shinigami myself," Jiraiya said, standing back at his original position, looking over Konoha. "No way, how? You have the Ryatsu of a human," Naruto said, standing up and looking at him in total disbelief. "It's because I'm in my human body. You never needed one because your missions were always in the Shinigami world, but I do missions out here in the human world. I need to be noticed to keep a regular profile and not freak anyone out like you do when you come here," Jiraiya said, then thrusted his palm into his chest as his human body fell to the ground like a rag doll as the real Jiraiya appeared. Naruto twitched as the man's Ryatsu skyrocketed higher than any captain he had seen. Jiraiya wore the casual black Shinigami robes with a white trim. He also wore a captain's Haori, which had black flames on the bottom of his Haori, the same design as Naruto's and Minato's robe. Jiraiya's Zanpakuto was sheathed and was across his back. He unsheathed it and showed it to Naruto. The hilt was green with orange diamond-like designs and the blade was battle-ready. The guard was square and had the Japanese symbol for oil in the square. It was the same symbol that was on Jiraiya's headband. A captain's robe. There's no insignia, which means you're not in a squad. And all the captain positions are taken, so how are you?" Naruto asked. "A captain? Well, I was secretly promoted into the Zero Squad. In other words, I am the Royal Guard of the Serrator. I have been here on simple lookout missions from the Akatsuki. As you know, they are Arancars which are led by Arashi, but that coward won't show his face, not now or anytime soon. I am going on a mission to the Rain Village to collect information on the Akatsuki, so I ask you one last time, do you want to come?" Jiraiya said, sheathing his sword. "Yeah, I'll come, Naruto said, grinning. Well, first we must take care of those injuries, Jiraiya said, pulling out a vial in his human boss pouch. He then handed it to Naruto. It is a medicine that was branched off from the soldier pill. It will heal all of your injuries, but it tastes like S, Jiraiya said, looking at the distance as Naruto coughed at the taste of it. Well, I do feel better. Hey, maybe this does work, Naruto said, taking his bandages off. See, now we better hurry. We got only 1 week until we can reach the Rain Village, so let's go, but first let me put my body somewhere safe so no one suspects I have SD. Jiraiya said, picking up his human body and hiding it. He then looked at Naruto, then said, Okay Naruto, are you ready? Yeah. Naruto and Jiraiya wasted no time and arrived at their first stop. Jiraiya taught him helpful kiddo spells, and they would train their swordsmanship for hours. Jiraiya taught him ninjutsu as well, much like their last training visit. Naruto learned how to make sly elemental clones, wind clones and even fire clones. He had also learned how to train his Rasengan so he could further the training by himself if he pleases. It was 2 days of training at one village until they traveled to the next. Jiraiya then began to spar with Naruto, but with Naruto's hollow mask on. Even then Jiraiya could still beat him without using his full strength. Naruto admired Jiraiya's power and used that as a goal to become stronger. Naruto began to learn to control his hollow mask and hold it longer. Even at night Naruto's training wasn't done. As Naruto seeped deep into his consciousness, he trained with his Zanpakuto spirit. They trained in advanced swordsmanship and some kiddo here and there. When he woke up he was rested, which puzzled him, but he didn't mind as he continued to practice chakra control. It's only been 4 days, 3 more days until we reach the Rain Village. I feel stronger, but I'm really tired, Naruto said, and fell down and was passed out from exhaustion. Even with that vial's health, the damage dealt by Sasuke still hasn't healed. What occurred in that fight I don't know, but I must get him stronger so this won't happen again, Jiraiya said to himself as he sat down and laid Naruto properly and waited for him to wake up. Naruto and Jiraiya traveled to the last village. There Naruto learned chakra manipulation and made up some techniques that revolved around his chakra element, wind. Naruto practiced with his Shikai. Jiraiya told him not to release his Bon Kai, unless it was a life or death situation. It was too fierce and could hardly be controlled if provoked into deep anger. Naruto understood and realized he had to get better at his Shikai if he were ever going to go toe-to-toe with another Arrancar again. 3 days had passed. Naruto accomplished a lot and the two agreed that Naruto had become stronger in the amount of time they had. The two had bonded a bit more, like father and son. Naruto would talk about his secrets to Jiraiya and was eager to hear his stories from his missions. They were the best of friends and they loved to hang out with each other. When the week ended they arrived at the Rain Village and slowly stepped in. So why are we here again, Jiraiya? Naruto asked, walking beside the man. 2 Akatsuki members have been spotted here. I've been assigned to wipe them out, Jiraiya said as he saw Naruto flinch, then felt her uneasy presence as well. They arrived in the town central of the Rain Village. The whole place was industrialized with tall metal buildings and fading streetlights. They looked around as the two felt the same presence once more. 6 boss then appeared, all looking different and all in a black robe with red clouds. Another form, a female, appeared in the same robe and had blue hair with a flower on her head. No way. Konan, Yahiko, how did you guys survive? Where's Nagato? Jiraiya said, his eyes widening from the sight of the figures. To much questions, Jiraiya sensei, Nagato is safe with us, you could say, and I am not Yahiko. We are not Yahiko nor Nagato, we are Pain. The form that looked like Yahiko said, with piercings on his face and spiky orange hair. Each of the boss had piercings and red hair. Each of them had the Rinnegan. Jiraiya, who are these guys? Naruto asked, wrapping his hand around the hilt of his sword. My old students, I'll have to tell you the story later. They are the ones from Akatsuki, they are the ones they sent me to K. Jiraiya said, placing a hand on his hilt too. Chaos, a bit drastic, don't you think, Jiraiya-sensei? Konan said as she grew paper-like angel wings and flew beside Yahiko out of Pain. I'll call him God Realm Pain since he is. Naruto, take care of the girl, and be on your guard, separate her from him, you got that? They are Arrancar? I don't know if they are stronger than the Espada or equal or maybe weaker. Don't hold back, but remember, don't use your Bon Kai. Jiraiya said as Naruto nodded. The two unsheathed their swords. Jiraiya charged at the pains and Naruto leaped over at Conan. Come. Jiraiya said, looking at all the pains, more importantly the God Realm one. Each pain drew a Sai, short sword for those of you who may not know and think it is the Naruto character Sai _ from their sleeve and charged at the white-haired sage. Jiraiya clashed blades with the God Realm pain. He saw the Ghost Realm pain charge at his left and the Animal Realm pain charge at his right. Jiraiya twisted the God Realm pain in a fashion so that he would fling his sword in the air. Jiraiya grabbed it and espered it in the ground. He axe-kicked the Ghost Realm pain sword to make it stick in the ground as well. When Animal Realm pain came up, he lightly guided the sword to the ground and stepped on it with enough sword so the pain couldn't get it out. You are very scared, Jiraiya-sensei, but will that suffice? God Realm pain asked as a force pushed Jiraiya back as Human and Naruto Realm pains came from behind Jiraiya in an attempt to S him through the back. Okay, even this is getting a bit confusing. From now on the only one called pain is God Realm, the rest will be like this example. Animal Realm pain equals animal. If you're curious on what each look like, go to the Naruto wiki site. Jiraiya spun around and positioned his sword vertically to block Naruto's blade as he raised his foot and stomped it down on Human's blade. He turned to look at Pain, then grinned. Is that all you got? I thought my students could give me a better challenge. After saying that, he jumped back and clapped his hands together, then chanted, Bakudo 75, Goshuteken. As the words came out of his mouth, 6 incredibly large and thick pillars pinned Naruto and Animal to the ground. Impressive, Pain said as him and the other boss charged at Jiraiya. Naruto charged at Conan as they clashed blades. She had a normal Zanpakuto with a plan blue handle and a rectangular guard with a graceful design of an animal Naruto couldn't make out at the time. Conan parried each of his attacks until he began to flash step around her the way Minato does. She got slashed twice before she elbowed Naruto back into the ground and attempted to S him through the heart. Naruto made 2 clones. One took the S for him and the other punched her hard enough to send her a few feet back. Conan used her paper wings to fly high in the air as Naruto ran up a building, then dashed forward towards her as they clashed blades and began to S at each other furiously. None of the attacks Naruto dished out hit, and when he began to fall he had to flash step to keep him in the air for a while longer. So this is the power of Minato's descendant, hardly worth mentioning. Conan said. Don't underestimate me, lady. Naruto shouted as he placed his foot on Conan's blade, then flipped back in the air. While he was airborne he then said, let your anger flow through my blade, Akaru Kitsune. His sword changed into its first release state as he slashed the air as a wave of condensed Ryatsu hit Conan, making her plummet to the ground. Conan winced as she slammed into the ground a few inches from Jiraiya and Pain's fight. She got up and appeared behind Naruto and attempted to slash at him. They clashed blades oddly. Conan quickly overpowered him, then slashed him across the chest. Shred diosa de papel, Spanish for paper goddess, Conan said. The flower on her head then sprouted and the white substances covered her entire face, leaving a demonic-like hollow mask with strands of white substances with the shape of pointy dreadlocks coming from the back of her head. Jiraiya continued to block each attacks the bodies dished out like it was child play, which to Jiraiya it was. He then hear one of the boss say something, then the rest said a phrase to release their Zanpakuto. Sorry, I'm a bit too lazy to come up with Shikai chants for each body, just use your imagination this time equals P. Animal had white substances to design himself like a tiger, Human got the white substances to give him huge gauntlets and a half mask, Naruto got the white substance to form huge arms and upper body, basically with a whole being in the middle to act as a Sero cannon. The spikes on Asura's head grew curved and longer as he got menacing claws and strong legs and arms. Preda's whole stomach area turned a bit spherical so he could imitate the human boulder like Chuji, his legs were like springs so he could go fast, and the white substance formed from his forehead and curved, covering his hair. Hey, interesting, now it's my turn. Jiraiya said, and without even chanting his Ryatsu rose up and his sword changed. The hilt was like a frog leaping, the guard had the open mouth of a frog. The blade was like a broadsword with the middle being pink, acting as the frog's tongue. Although he didn't say the phrase to release it, he had the same power of what a real captain's Shikai should be. Preta was the first to attack by engulfing himself in a red Sero and charging at Jiraiya in the human boulder fashion. Jiraiya grinned as green Ryatsu engulfed his blade and he slammed it down on the boulder, immediately stopping and making the Sero split, blasting into the building behind Jiraiya. The sage used his strength to redirect Preta into another building, Animal already appeared and SD at his chest. They punched him hard into the debris behind him. The pink part of the middle of the sword came out and wrapped around Animal, then slammed him into buildings hard enough to make them crumble. He then was thrown in the air as Jiraiya made a Rasengan. He made the Rasengan combust into flames as he flash-stepped in front of him and thrusted the flaming Rasengan into Animal's chest, making him basically disintegrate. Conan continued to fight Naruto, both of them exhausting more energy than needed to. Naruto got tired more quickly since his injuries weren't healed fully. Conan began to use paper as shuriken at Naruto, who used condensed Ryatsu to block and strike at Conan. Usually the Ryatsu would be deflected, but sometimes Conan would get hit. This was a sign of her tiring. They continued to clash blades and parry each other's attacks in the air. Occasionally Naruto would look back and see Jiraiya fight the pain boss. "Pay attention here, you're fighting me," Conan said as a swarm of papers darted towards Naruto, engulfing him with it. Red Ryatsu began to shot out from each end of the sphere of paper and they eventually combusted into flames and crumbled. Naruto flash-stepped in front of Conan and slashed upwards at her, then made a Rasengan and thrusted it in her shoulder, making her slams into a building and go through it. Naruto flash-stepped toward the rim of the building and looked in. It was pitch black, so Naruto made a mini Rasengan as a lantern. He got good enough with the Rasengan that all he had to do was hold out his hand and apply chakra to it and it would form into it. He had practiced it a lot since he learned it and it proved to be his best weapon in tight situations. Human punched Jiraiya when he destroyed Animal. He was punched in the direction of Naraka, who shot a Sero at Jiraiya. Each body believed he was hit directly, but Jiraiya espered Naraka through the Sero cannon, then used his Ryatsu to basically make him explode. Jiraiya was then immediately pulled toward Pain as Preta successfully slammed him with the Sero boulder, making him slam into the building. "That's it, Bon, Kai," Jiraiya exclaimed as his Ryatsu shot up. He began to gain wart-like things of a toad, and lines on his cheeks originating from the bottom of his eyes. "You guys are lucky it's not every day a person witnesses my Bon, Kai. Sage mode is another word for it if you want to be proper," Jiraiya said. Then when Preta came to attack again, he punched the Sero, making it split and hit a building again. Then the white substance crack and make Preta revert back to its form. Pain immediately extended his arms as jets of water splashed out coming from the gates of the city as it crashed against Jiraiya. The sage simply slashed at the water and it split apart, but it was too much. Pain came up behind him and espered Jiraiya in the back and then thrusted it farther till it went through him. "You think that's gonna kill me?" Jiraiya asked, chuckling. "No, but the poison injected through you will. As we speak they are traveling through you, king everything it sees. You have about 7 minutes to live, Jiraiya," Pain said as the water stopped and him and the rest of his boss disappeared. Naruto was blasted out of the building as paper surrounded him. He attempted to swing at the papers like he has been doing ever since, but Conan halted him with a swift movement. He saw her hands move quickly. Naruto slashed the air to make a Ryatsu wave slash some of the papers. It waved then hit Conan's left arm, making it hanging on a few threads of tissue. The paper then formed into the sphere shape and then violently exploded. Naruto reverted back to his normal form and fell a few feet away from Jiraiya. He looked up and found that Jiraiya was then inched closer slowly. Naruto's skin was burnt and he was damaged pretty badly. "Naruto, listen to me. Get out of here or fake so they miss you. When you're ready, go and seek out a man, a toad named." Jiraiya paused a bit as he threw up blood, his tea beginning to be clogged up by blood. Before he went into the void, he forcibly uttered out the name Fukasaku, and after the great sage uttered out those words he had SD. Naruto was utterly shocked on two things, Jiraiya's death and the person, well, people who killed him. He had no time to take all these feelings in as he was greeted by an orange-masked man in an Akatsuki robe. Naruto was quickly grabbed and pulled up, then by some unknown force Naruto was pinned to the wall of a building. Arashi, Naruto said, using Yoroiki's description of him in his Akatsuki robe as a hint on which this man is. "I'm flattered that you know me, Naruto, Uzumaki," Arashi said, uttering out Uzumaki with a disgusted tone. He then looked down and saw Naruto's Zanpakuto lying where Naruto previously was. He picked it up, then walked over to Naruto and yanked the sheath, also taking the white sash unintentionally. "Although it is amazing how you got so good with a sword that isn't even yours, I must have it back. Thanks for taking care of it though," Arashi said, laughing as he sensed the kiddo breaking and Naruto immediately grabbing the hilt of the sword, same as Arashi. "You're not getting this sword even if it is yours." Naruto shouted, looking into the one hole of the orange mask Arashi is wearing now. Oh really now? Arashi asked as the red chakra-like Ryatsu engulfed the blade as Arashi used some, barely any of his strength to raise the sword and cut Naruto deeply in the chest, a fatal blow to some. S. Naruto shouted in his mind as he fell down. His vision became fuzzy, then dark. As he blacked out, he heard a voice call out to him. It was a familiar voice, but he couldn't talk back, which got him aggravated, so he just listened to it faintly. Arashi opened a portal as Naruto fell in it. It looked like a garganta, but it was a portal to a different dimension. Arashi looked at Pain after the portal closed. Arashi looked at his sword and found the Ninetails essence to be a bit more savage in a way, and he sheathed the sword, then looked back at Pain, then said. Before Naruto completely went in there, Arashi used his Ryatsu to briefly go in his mind, Naruto having Arashi's image in his conscious. He then heard Arashi loud and clear holding his hand up in a challenge-like way. The orange-masked man then said, "Come back to Konoha, Naruto, when you're ready to face a god." Arashi, obviously referring to himself as having god-like strength. He then disappeared, which got Naruto angry, but he eventually totally blacked out and let this portal take him wherever it is supposed to. "You teleported Naruto into a different dimension," Pain said, not totally getting Arashi's actions. "I sent him to another dimension. Since I spared the very fabric of space, it will eventually bring Konoha into utter chaos. That will even deal damage to the Soul Society and more importantly Hukomundo. I can then overthrow Aizen after following him for so long," Arashi said. He only told Pain this because he was basically his best friend and very loyal to him. He could tell him anything and it would be kept between the two. "Where exactly did you send him?" Pain asked out of curiosity. "Fortuna," Arashi said. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.